On duty.
Hello. Hi, are you rolling?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Deputy Brooks. So, I just got a complaint that's been forwarded to the Sheriff's Department from the City Police about one of the constituents in your ward, LaQuisha Davis. Are you familiar with that? Or I'm sorry, LaQuisha Daniel. Are you familiar with them?
House here?
Yeah, it would be.
No, nothing really bad.
Okay. So, she came into the public safety building a couple of days ago and made a complaint. She said that she feels like she's been harassed by you. I guess you have talked to her about blowing leaves into the street previously, and then her car was blocking the sidewalk on another occasion, and she was unloading some things from her car, and she had it parked on her lawn.
Okay. They live down here.
Okay.
43rd Avenue.
Okay.
5613.
Okay, maybe I have an old address then.
5613 43rd Avenue.
Okay. So what else is going on? Okay.
As I walk into the neighborhood, I'm an alderman. And then everything's fine. They start letting the car park across the sidewalk. That's a violation. I asked them about moving the car. I did for about 6 months. And they started grilling. There's a grill in front of the garage. They back up the car and across the driveway. Public sidewalk.
Okay.
I don't know why the sheriff's involved in this.
Well, it's because you're an alderman, and then it's the city police, so it's kind of a bit of a conflict of interest. So when things like that happen, then usually the sheriff's department gets referred to take a report.
They don't seem to know the rules, and it's not because they're black; it's because they're violating the rules. And I have copies of the rules. I've dropped the rules off at the house.
Okay.
And one day, the car was still across the sidewalk. I was going to be Mr. Nice Guy. I was going to bring. I seen the front car had a flat tire. I was going to bring the portable compressor. To air the tire up.
Okay.
And the woman come out of the house. Get off my property. Get off my sidewalk. So I called the police and had them write her a ticket.
Okay.
Perfectly illegal. Then after that, the thing happened for a while. Then this thing happened a couple weeks ago. I was walking my dog, and they were having a birthday party or something. They had 2 cars on the front lawn, which is illegal, and in the snow. It was snowing that day. And one across the sidewalk. And I waited until they got the last car on the lawn, and I says, "Can you move that car?" She says, "Have some patience. Walk around it." And I said, "No, I'm the alderman here, and I need to ask you to move the car because you're violating the public sidewalk." And so I started walking around the car, and she said, "You could walk across the street. That bothers you." It's just not for my convenience, your convenience, for my convenience as a public citizen to walk down the sidewalk. So I come home and I wrote a letter to him instead of confronting him. I wrote a letter to him on my city stationery.
Okay.
And that's the last thing. Well, the other day I come by and she was blowing leaves on the street. That's her leak.
Okay.
I called the city and told them to write a citation.
Now, do you report other violations in the neighborhood?
Yes. Fine.
Okay.
Only if I see it when I'm doing my walk, or if I get a neighbor complaint.
Okay.
That's if she thinks I'm picking her out. No, it's because they're constantly violating rules.
Okay.
I mean, it's constantly. It's like rules don't apply to them.
Mm-hmm.
I told them who I was. They said, we don't care who you are. That's the kind of people they are.
Okay.
Certain apartments across the street, I have problems with them all the time.
Okay.
I got these little cards that I write when they park close to the intersection
Mm-hmm.
as a warning. And some people don't take warnings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all under my jurisdiction of lighting up what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I ignored for a while. I let the car sit there for a week before I say anything off sidewalk. It's illegal.
Yeah.
It's a thing in why gets to me because it's a public sidewalk. People, the problem is there's 10 feet in front of the car.
Yeah.
They choose to park across the sidewalk. And it's what I have to do.
Okay.
And why I have to go this far for somebody like that, I don't know.
Well, it's one of those things that if a citizen makes a complaint, then, there's an obligation for us to at least investigate and whatnot. And because it's, you're an alderman and everything,
Does anybody explain to her that this is wrong? I'm not picking on her because she does it constantly.
A number of officers have spoken to her in the past. I read a report that kind of documented
that. The guy out here does the same thing. Corner of 41st and 53rd. The garage is close to the sidewalk. There's 2 houses in the road there.
Okay.
He does the same thing. Finally, they issued a couple of tickets and he might remove them.
Okay.
Now he parks in the backyard. So
okay.
If we don't keep up with this, let's just having ordinances. It just makes the whole neighborhood look bad.
I understand.
Same as people leave the garbage and trash bins out in the street all week. Those when I'm walking, I'll pull them into the middle of the driveway so they have to get up, put away belongings out the street. That's all comes under my jurisdiction. So I know I get that same thing. I had one on 38th and 61st, where the corner turns like ends in both ways. Parking a dump truck in their yard. I went over to do a cop citation. What are you picking on me because I'm Mexican? No, it's because you're violating the law.
Okay. So I'm not familiar with how the city.
Supposed to ignore those things? No.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with how the city does it. As an alderman, are you able to issue citations, or do you just contact the city police?
Contact.
Okay.
We got a ticket system for aldermen only. We write those up and we send them in. Now that blowing leaves in the street, that goes to the police. So we call them, have them go to the CSO. That's the way that happens.
Okay.
It's all on my job. And if you don't do it, then people complain because you don't do it. Then they won't elect you next time. So
yeah, I understand.
It's 22.
I understand. So from my understanding, and I haven't spoken to her yet. This is just from reading the report that KPD wrote on it. She doesn't want you, talking to her or, having interactions with her being on her property is what she told the city. So
I only walked on the property once to knock on a door for the air compressor. That was the only time I walked up to her door.
Okay.
Up the sidewalk where the mailman goes.
So I'm going to go talk to her after this. My recommendation to you would be if there are violations, instead of, directly talking to her, because apparently she feels harassed, and it's, from what I read in the report, it's not a good interaction between the two of you. If there are violations,
they come out swearing at me.
Yeah, that's what I
screaming as loud as the neighborhood could hear.
That's what I read in the report. My advice would be, if there are violations that you feel warrant a citation, would be to contact KPD and have them go out and have them talk to her, just to avoid any other, future problems.
How do I do my job? Tell her that. How do I do my
job?
Yeah,
I'll try to explain it as best as I can, that, you have a job that you're...
She doesn't know or care what an alderman is. That's what I got from her. Chased me off her side step that day. And the thing was, I was trying to be nice to her. And you can only be nice so many times. And that's the day I called the police. I left and had them go over and get a citation. And it's clear violations. We have rules for sidewalks for a reason. Public sidewalks.
No, I understand.
For me to walk on. To walk across the street, like she said.
I understand, and I'll speak to her about it. It's, I think just, in the future, since, she's already, made a complaint and whatnot, if there is a violation that warrants a citation, just contact KPD and then they can handle it.
I had a guy over on 46th Avenue, it was probably in the paper, they had the pit bulls that attacked the neighbors, got involved with that. The guy constantly kept throwing garbage out in the parkway, which we just, Monday we'll finalize an ordinance for that. Because people just throw garbage out thinking garbage man's going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And we went over there with the street department head guy. That guy comes out there screaming at us to get away from it. Okay, who's who and whatever. But these are the people we have to deal with.
I understand, and I deal with the same thing. I work the Village of Summer, so I issue all of their ordinance citations. So I'm familiar with having to do things like that.
Well, that's what my job is, to keep safety and make sure the neighborhood's clean.
Yep, I understand. I think just contacting.
Across the street, that's my stepson. He don't talk to me, but he's got junk in his front yard. You can see that.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to, because that's what happens too. Is they say, well, that guy down the street has it. Yeah. And I'm in the middle. But I shouldn't have to go this far because the woman just doesn't understand.
I understand. I think just as far as reducing the friction.
Mr. Morrissey, he's the city administrator.
Okay.
Because people do complain to him. One of us do something that the citizens don't think we should be doing. But that's part of our job. Yeah, and I understand that. The benefit of having the city do it is it's not directly, the city officer doesn't live on the block, doesn't have to have that regular interactions, and then we all wear cameras. Everything is documented. If she feels like she's being harassed or anything, then it's something that can get reviewed versus if you're going and talking to her. Makes me feel like this is what I'm supposed to do.
I understand. And
that's how I got my job, because the other woman that used to be on this district didn't do her job. She didn't return calls. And a lot of our calls are neighbor against neighbor. And in this case, it's me, because I walk past her all the time. And I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong or you're not allowed to do your job or anything. I think it's, she saw me the other day when she was blowing the leaves out the street. You can go down there, you can see them in the street there. And she saw me, and I didn't go back there and talk to her. I wrote CSO, I called CSO, and go over there. But, you discouraged me from doing my job now. Yeah. No, I get it. I think, like I said, it coming from KPD, they're kind of a neutral third party on it. Then the entire interaction's recorded and documented and everything like that. And then it lets you do what you need to do while not having that, personal friction between the two. I didn't get to the part that they were screaming. I didn't get back at them. It sounds like she reported that's what happened to the city police officer. I never screamed back at her. She was the one that screamed out to me. The neighbor could hear. And I don't know if any of the neighbors could witness or not. I walked around the car, and I said I wasn't going to walk across the street. They have to understand there's rules and regulations. Yep. How do you get across that when they end up calling somebody and report against me? That doesn't work well. I've had complaints made against me, and the benefit of complaints made against us is, like I said, they can review the footage and see, no, you were being treated with respect. This is, I'm out here with a camera. I'm documenting the violation while I'm explaining it to the person. So that might just be, if you do notice something that is in violation, contact the city. They can send a CSO or a police officer out, and they can handle it from there. Somebody who walks the dog and lets them poop on the sidewalk. I used to have cameras facing that way. One up there. Okay. Turned around to watch this side now. But, and I think that's the guy down the corner. I just told you about the garage close. Yeah. Because we had several calls of him for not cutting his grass between the sidewalk cracks. And the crosswalk, which is handicapped, was full of weeds going up into it. And it's funny, he has the car. He's the worst problem. Okay. And just had one where his dog fall over the yard. What I want to send away to, where the neighbor called me, and I went over, and when the neighbor calls you, then what do you do? Yeah. No, I hear you. So I think just with this particular incident, it might just be better to have have KPD handle it. Just
like I said, it'll just reduce the tensions between the two of you. It's a neutral third party. Everything's documented then.
Well, that's
And
why-
then if there's violations, they'll issue a ticket
That's
for
why
it.
I called
Mhm.
about the leaves.
Yep.
And by the time I got home that day, like I walked 46 Avenue back up there.
Mhm.
By the time I got home, I drove down there and the cars were all on the street and went across the
Yeah.
sidewalk. So I left that alone at that time.
Mhm.
The leaves, that's a violation.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, like I said, I think just having the city come out and they can issue
What I'm
citations
going
if
to have
there's
is
the
another
problems.
neighbor. What I'm going to have is another neighbor call me. Well, why is that guy blowing his leaves out? I can't do that. And that's the big problem with Kenosha because everybody says, well, Pleasantberry does it, Milwaukee does
Yeah.
it. We don't do it.
Mhm.
And they get, I just said, well, yesterday, the day before, yesterday, a woman complained to me about not having vacuum leaves
Mhm.
because Prairie does. I'm sitting there, okay, I'm in the middle. This is my job.
Yeah.
So what am I doing? And I didn't shout back at that.
Mhm.
She shouted to the three of them out there shouting at me.
Yeah, that's what I read in the report. So
From her, or,
she reported and she said that she was yelling at you to the officer that took the report for the city.
oh, well, where does that make me wrong? She was the one.
And I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's like I said, sometimes it's just more beneficial. There's people in the Village of Summers that don't get along with the village staff, and I do things for the village staff that they would ordinarily do because, again, neutral third party, everything's recorded. It's a little bit of a hassle to have to do it that way, but then it alleviates some of the tensions, and then it's
I had a problem
documented.
with Roger Perez, who lives down in the next end of that same block.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a figure in Kenosha.
Okay.
He used to own Jaguar Restaurant at one time. And I had his neighbor complain to me about his runoff of his driveway.
Mm-hmm.
He built a driveway that was up this high from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he put rain drain on the back of the garage. So the water went into the neighbor's yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I filled it up. The city inspector went over there and they found that he put too much concrete in his backyard patio. I paid $8,000, I think it was.
Oh, geez.
He come down here and told me, what you do this for? I helped you get elected and all this stuff. They started looking at my house. I used to have 3 evergreens there.
Mm-hmm.
3 branches within the house, and he just yelling and screaming at me about, and I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
It was that when the city inspector goes over there, they look a little farther.
Yeah.
And this comes under, the grass is in our ordinance,
Mhm.
just like snow.
Yep.
If I were to blow snow out in the street, well, you wouldn't be able to, the city would be able to give me a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens here is these leaves come down here and they're up in that storm sewer and
Yeah.
brings it up. I keep all 4 clean. I go out,
Mhm.
clean them out. So
No, I hear ya.
be right around.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go talk to her. Let her know that I came out and talked to you, and that if there are ordinance violations, that she will end up having a city officer knock on her door, and that she's got to follow the rules in order to avoid that.
Understand what an alderman does, and that's why because that's what I got from her. That
Mm-hmm.
I'm just another person who's down the street that's harassing her.
Yeah.
That's where I think it comes from. She's got to understand what my job is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to explain.
Yeah,
that
I'll
to
see.
her?
I'll see if I can't get her to understand it, and then hopefully this will reduce the problems.
One of the reasons I'm so hard on people parked across sidewalk is because this guy over on 41st Avenue, I think it was, he was half blind.
Mm-hmm.
And he was walking one day and somebody had a car parked and he fell and hit his head.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little bit of brain damage.
Yeah.
This is the reason.
Well, yeah, you don't want kids having to go out into the street and elderly people and things like
And then
that.
we
So
have
the rules
these-
are there for a reason. I agree.
We have these motor scooters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that guy had problems back down here because they have to go out in the street to go
Mhm.
around those things. That's not for us to do. It's for them to be
Yeah.
capable of understanding law.
Yep. I agree. Any questions or anything like that, sir?
No, I just hope you relay across what Alderman is to her.
Yeah, I will. And like I said, if there's future problems, at least in the short term, might be best to just have a city officer come out and handle it then.
But it comes down to them that they don't think they're susceptible to laws.
Yeah.
They have to obey it.
Well, usually, my experience, it comes a little bit different when it's, someone showing up with a badge and a uniform on. So,
Now you scared me.
okay, I'm going to go talk to her, okay?
Let's call it with him for people.
You have a nice rest of your day, sir.